I'm so happy to see all of you today and to invite you into the world that we're going to visit today of getting to Carnegie Hall. And we're going to explore some hallways and basements and attics where some things might be hiding. Because this time of year, for all of the musical celebration of it and all of the decorations and all that everybody wants to really focus on about love and giving and kindness and generosity and openness and closeness and connection, sometimes it doesn't feel that way. There might be just a moment here or there where those feelings aren't as immediately accessible as we would like them to be. Many of us started out believing in Santa Claus, at least for a little while. Didn't we? At least for a little while. And we didn't know that anybody write letters to Santa Claus? Or make out a list for Santa Claus? Well, for those of you who didn't, you're probably going to be bored for the next 5 minutes, but just hang in with me. What we didn't realize is that, and I don't think our parents or their parents or however far back it started, realized that we were being taught how to pray. We were being taught how to ask for things from something outside of us that had it all. Now, that is certainly one way to pray. And a lot of us, whether you want to talk about Santa Claus or you want to talk about the faith traditions that we grew up in, a lot of us were taught to pray that way, right? There was a big God. This was before Amazon. There was a big God in the sky, and if we prayed rightly and we behaved rightly, then maybe that God would deem us worthy. Anybody at least know people who were raised that way? Right? So it's great that we were being taught how to pray, but not so great that we were being taught how to pray to something other, to something else, to something where it was he, when I was growing up, he had all the power. Wouldn't have mattered if it was a she. Same. Had all the power, had all the goodies, and decided whether or not I was good enough to have them. Right? So here we are in this room, and we all know better, don't we? I only heard one yes. Yes. That makes me really nervous. So, at least some of the time we know better. Can you meet me there? Yes. All right. So when we know better, what's different? When we know better, we don't hesitate. Because we know the answer is yes. When we know better, we don't question. Because we know that everything that we need or need to know, or anything that needs to be revealed, is just emerging before us in obvious ways. Right? Yes. Oh, I heard a lot more yeses that time. When we're waffling and we aren't quite so sure, particularly if we get confused about, well, this wouldn't be showing up in my life if I knew how to treat right. If I knew the right words, if I knew how that funny position I'm supposed to be in when I'm meditating. Thank you, by the way, Toby, for talking about 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. We get confused. And actually, what's really going on is that we don't get confused, not the real us of us, because the real us of us is never confused, because the real us of us is what? Clear. Well, okay. That's one name for it. What else might we call clear? Right. The real us of us is God, right? Is God confused? Right? So it isn't the us of us that gets confused. It's our idea that gets confused. It's the committee up here that has so many interesting things to say about shoulda, woulda, coulda, and oughta. All of that is going on up here, and that's what gets confused. By means of our practice, which is how we get to Carnegie Hall. You've all heard that expression, right? How do you get to Carnegie Hall?
Practice, practice, practice.
So thank you very much. By means of our practice, we help to keep this at bay. We aren't blowing it up. We aren't detonating it. We aren't trying to get rid of it. Good luck trying to do that. It's just part of our human system. What we are doing, and it's not what we're trying to do, what we are doing by having a spiritual practice, even though it started out as a letter to Santa Claus, by having a spiritual practice, we are setting aside a few moments day by day, thank you very much, Jane, to remember. May I see you more clearly. May I love you more dearly. To connect in. Now, I'm just saying, this is just me, okay? This isn't everybody, this is just me. You'll never hear me say to invite in the presence of God. Because I know the presence of God is always right here, including all around me. What I invite in is my awareness. What I invite in is my capacity to plug in to that outlet that is already and always 24/7 right here available. It's like you have electrical outlets all over the place, right? Or do all of them have something plugged into them? No. But when you plug something into it, will it light up? Will it run? Will it? Yes, but you got to plug in. It isn't that Santa is out there somewhere, that there's this big entity in the sky that is going to save us from ourselves or anything else. It's already right here. It's already right here. So I'm kind of goofy about Christmas, I'll just say. Our decorations have decorations. And we unpack them with great tenderness, and, oh, do you remember when we got this? Or I remember my mother gifting me that, or whatever the case may be. And what I realized this year as we started to unpack everything is that decorating is a spiritual practice. In fact, everything is if we bring that quality of attention to it. The thing about decorating for me that I wanted to share with you this morning on our way to Carnegie Hall is decorating for me brings out in me the child. Time, space disappears. And I go right back to my first experience of hanging an ornament on my tree at home. I go right back to all of that tenderness, all of that wonder. And there I grew up in a household that was less than wonderful. But something happened at Christmas. And as long as nobody had too much to drink, when other things happened, as long as nobody had too much to drink, it was like this circle had been drawn around my family. And we were all little kids. I was an only child, still am, actually. And my parents and I just stepped into this suspended space together. That's what it's like to be plugged into the presence of God. There is a suspension of the chatter. There's a suspension of the distractions. There's a suspension of all of the what ifs and the if thens and the might be's and probably nots and whatever else. There's this suspension where we can be instantaneously, truly, we can be in this vortex, if you will, of all of those qualities that when we talk about the divine and we identify ourselves as one with that, all of those qualities that we give voice to. Love, kindness, appreciation, generosity, wholeness, oneness. But it goes so far beyond words. It's an experience, just like that experience was for me with my parents. Everything else just melted away. All of the whatever else just melted away. It's not magic. I work with a client who keeps saying to me, "But why isn't there a magic wand?" And I say to her, "Because you have it already. It's already where you are. It's already who you are. The thing that changes is how we are. Not how we are out there. That counts. But how we are out there isn't nearly as important as how we are in here. If our intention is to bring this quality of childlike wonder, is to bring this innocence, is to bring all that the spirit of this season truly can be to everyone that we meet, everywhere that we go, everything that we do, if all we're doing is focusing on doing it out there, and we aren't starting in here, and we aren't filling up in here, and we aren't making sure that we're plugged in here, then pretty soon we're weary. And it's like, oh, golly, and I forgot to buy a gift for them. Or whatever the case may be that takes us out of the joy of it, the deliciousness of it. the potential connection that is available. You know as well as I do, it's available all the time, right? It isn't just reserved for 4 weeks in December. It's available all the time, but something interesting happens this time of year. You've witnessed it as well as me, where in a lot of people there seems to be a little deference. There seems to be a little willingness to hesitate or look in each other's eyes and smile at a total stranger for no reason. There seems to be more of a willingness. But how do we build on that? We build on that through our practice. Through our meditation. And you can meditate and hang ornaments at the same time, I'm here to tell you. Because meditation is a quality of attention. The advantage to sitting... I didn't do that. But it must be true. Or what I'm going to say next is the biggest thing I've ever said in my life. You know what? I know you can all hear me. Do you need me? You need me on the mic. Okay. 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 I know you can hear me fine, but Jane's concerned about the recording. Okay, let's try this. Does that work? Yes. Okay. The thing is the quality of attention that we bring to the tiniest detail, that we are willing to bring to the tiniest detail, quality of attention, that keeps us plugged in. It's one thing to plug in, it's another thing to stay plugged in. To stay plugged in when we're cut off on the freeway, to stay plugged in when we're in a long line and everybody around us is complaining, to stay plugged in when there's something else that we really need to do, but we really want to be doing something else. To stay plugged in when there is a gathering that we're supposed to show up at that we would really prefer stay home and watch football. Whatever the case may be, each one of those ideas and anything like that can pull us right out of that quality of attention that our spiritual practice helps us practice. One of the things that Toby spoke about so beautifully that apparently Jack had addressed in his talk last week was gratitude. One of the easiest practices I know, and one that we engage in every single day, in writing and out loud. So, in our gratitude journal, which we write in every morning, we write about the things that we are grateful for from the day before. But before that happens, the previous night, so let's say tonight, before we go to sleep, we say out loud to each other what we're grateful for from the day. And then it's the next day that we put it into our journal. Part of our spiritual practice. Easy, heart-opening. Takes 2 minutes. Spiritual practice is not some kind of heavy mantle to be borne like, oh my gosh. And then I have to read, and then I have to pray, and then I have to write affirmations, and then No. Sure, you can do all of that if that works for you. You can do all of that if you want to take the time. And your connection, our connection, my connection with all that is in me, and therefore all that is available in support of my highest good, your highest good, our highest good, isn't dependent upon anything. I saw this. It isn't dependent upon anything. It isn't conditional. It is never taken from us. We turn away from it. Remember the sacred circle I told you that I came to recognize that was the experience with my family? I mean, did I know that when I was 2? No. But I knew something. I knew that we all felt different together. I knew that there was kindness and gentleness and expansiveness, even in my little self. I recognized that because it resonated with something in me that I came in with because it's who I am. We are called, and I am calling you, I am inviting you to step in with that wonder, with that awareness, with that attention, all the time, just for a week, and see what happens. Someone mentioned that one of the qualities of the co-creation process that they remembered was focused listening. I think the word was focused. Was it focused? Committed listening. Thank you. Being a committed listener is such a gift to the world. Being present in that way. Isn't it delicious when you know that you're being heard? Doesn't that feel good? Well, turning that puppy around so that anyone who is with us, it can be a server in a restaurant, it can be a cashier, it can be someone in line with us. Anyone who is in our midst, or as one of my teachers would say, in the arena of our experience, we have a golden opportunity for which there is an immediate payoff that bounces right back by just offering our attention. When we're too busy to offer our attention, then we're not plugged in. When we're feeling constricted, when we're feeling anxious, when we're feeling hurried, we're not plugged in. And it's not because God went and spit the plug out. You never know what you're going to hear from me. It's because we closed the plug. When we feel that constriction, we've closed the plug. And God still hasn't gone anywhere. It's still all that we are. But we don't know it. In that moment, we are fully human. Gosh darn it. Practice, practice, practice. Fortunately, in my life, I know some amazing musicians. And what I know is that every day they come to their practice with that childlike wonder. Some of us think about practicing in that way. Anybody take piano or anything, an instrument, and they really didn't want to, and they had to practice, and it was like, ugh. Right? But they don't come to it that way because they know that bringing a fresh mind and heart to their practice is what keeps their performance fresh. It is what keeps their skill fresh. I don't know about you, but I am determined to stay fresh in God. I am determined to stay so alive and tuned in and turned up in that life as that life that is me and that is just hanging out, waiting to see how I am going to reveal it. Isn't that cool? That I'm excited to know what I can do, what's mine to do, not in some big, huge, commit myself to a monastery for the rest of my life kind of way, because that's not my calling. What is mine to do to stay in touch, in tune, in tone with that all the time? And am I willing? Because all we need to be is willing. Again, the love, the grace, the graciousness, the wholeness, the oneness, the good, abundance, prosperity, provision, that's already given. Already. And more. And it's unconditional. So it doesn't matter what we've done or didn't do. It doesn't matter how well we think we're doing now. It doesn't matter how well we ever do. That is always true. That's pretty cool, I think. And that is worthy of my presence. That is worthy of my attention. That is worthy of my innocence. That is worthy of my practice. Yes?
Yes.
So what are you going to practice this week? It's really funny because it's paying attention. In what? In a committed way, right? Listening, attending, presencing ourselves. That's your practice assignment for this week, is to presence yourself. And if stuff shows up, and it might, in whatever form, unexpected, not so happy surprises, whatever. Our opportunity is not to figure out what we were thinking that drew it to us. Our opportunity, listen very carefully now, our opportunity is not to figure out what we were thinking that drew it to us. Our opportunity is to figure out in the moment who we're going to show up as in the face of it. How am I presencing myself as the presence in the face of this? I promise you, just the two practices that we've already talked about will change your week. Moment by moment by moment, in dramatic ways. And by then, you will have a week under your belt of a new practice. So then the rest is easy, right? So how we get to Carnegie Hall is?
Practice, practice, practice.
And how do we stay in Carnegie Hall?
Practice, practice, practice.
I have something to share with you. I want to be guided by older ups. I want to be sandwiched in the middle of a messy togetherness. I want to be warned before I do something stupid. I want to be forgiven when I do it anyway. I want wisdoms to be tapped out on my eardrums and not Googled. I want gifts to be coaxed from children and teenagers and adults, and I want to mean something to my community. I want to get drunk on substance morning and night. I want to hear your dreams. I want to raise a revolution for gentleness. I want to make you feel something, even if it's awkward. I want to sing you songs which are ancient and new. I want to find, important difference. I want to find places we've never been, and then I want to return, but backwards. I want to shuffle up words so we don't sleep through them. I want to learn things and then be splashed into never forgetting. I want to make you feel seen. I want to hold your pounding heart in my gentlest of hands. And I don't want to miss a moment. I want to stand in this hurricane and sing the sweetest, most naked song you can hear. I want to be alive with you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's pray together, shall we? So recognizing the one power, the one presence, the one life, as all life. That love, that grace, that provision, that exquisite peace, that serenity, that spaciousness. I know that every quality, every single quality that I have just identified as being a revelation of the presence of that which I call God. I know that every single one of those qualities is as true of me as it is of it. For there is only one. It is as true of me that I am filled with grace, that I am filled to overflowing with love and kindness and gentleness and gratitude. And as it is true of me, it is true of everyone here, it is true of everyone who is touched by the sound of my voice in any way. It is true of every life that we touch. For this word is occurring in this never-ending, always moving, always creating pool of eternal life. And so there is no place where it is not. I speak this word then, knowing, accepting, allowing, making room in me, and declaring that all of us make room in us for patience, for kindness, to presence ourselves with each other, friend, family, stranger. Recognizing that we are in the presence as we do so. I know that the week that plays out before us, whatever it holds, that we are ready, that we are willing, that we are available, that we are open, that we are allowing, that we are flexible, that we are fluid. And the only thing to which we have profound attachment is that we are plugged in. My gratitude then just spills out automatically. For what I know is that every word that has been spoken by me or in the hearts of anyone here gathered is already heard. The demonstration is already unfolding because the answer is always yes. I release this word then to the order, to the activity, to the immediacy of the law, allowing it to simply, most certainly be, as together we affirm, and so it is.